Pascal. Yeah. He is a founder, strategic advisor, and of course, an author to the author of the book Amplified, none other than Mr. Dan Leiva. Welcome, Mr. Dan on Book 101 Review. And can you please introduce more about yourself that
Hi, thanks for having me. Yeah, so my name's Dan Leiva. Wrote a book, Amplified. I spent the last 25 years as an executive at Apple, eBay, Intuit, and Travelers Insurance. At the end of last year, I stepped away from the corporate world and started my own company called CX Amplify. It's a consulting company, and one of the things I wanted to do was write a book a little bit about how to really implement AI in this world of it's moving really fast, and it's taking a lot of impact in today's world, and I wanted to put a little bit of my thoughts out there in the world.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. Mr. Dan here on Book 101 Review. We celebrate you, we salute you for the. Thank you. So, today, let's talk about the book itself. You say that 6 months after companies replace people with AI, customers stop trusting the experience, employees stop exercising judgment, and no one knows who is responsible. Walk me through the timeline. What breaks first and what breaks last?
Yeah, what I've seen is, a lot of times when companies are deploying AI, and I've seen this, I have deployed AI in companies. What I've seen is the governance around the AI, the decision rights, and the thinking of what AI should do and what AI shouldn't do isn't always fully thought out. When you're deploying AI, it's not like any other technology that's ever been deployed before. A lot of the older technology, it really just did the things you told it to do. It would just run a workflow or run a process that you did before. AI, and especially generative AI and the AI that's out there today, it thinks now, it reasons now. So it does things that you didn't plan for. And that's very different. That's acting like your employee. And a lot of companies weren't prepared for that. And they didn't think about what they should do. And when you think about that, that's just like having another employee that works much faster than your other employees. And you wouldn't hire somebody and not give them a job description and a manager and and a supervisor and coaching. But many companies were deploying AI without those things, and generative AI without those things. And so what I saw is I deployed AI, and I've made these mistakes. And this book was not written from a place of perfection. I've made these mistakes too. And what my hope was, some of these people didn't repeat some of my mistakes. I've made these mistakes as well. Is that the everybody was going to, hey, AI is going to replace people. Let's get rid of all of our people and replace it with AI, and quickly found out that AI wasn't as good as everyone hyped it up to be.
Well said, Mr. Dan. You spent 25 years inside this problem at Apple, Intuit, eBay, and Travelers. What specific example where do you watch an AI implementation erode accountability and no one code until something went wrong?
Yeah, I think I'll give one example. As we deployed it at eBay, I think that no one knew until something went wrong. I don't want to talk about it in that bad. I think we saw some things happening, but we deployed AI up front, and we did it in a way that we allowed AI to say, hey, you know what? We're going to take and put AI in front of customers. It's going to allow AI to understand why the customer needs help. And we're going to make everyone go through this path of AI understanding why the customer needs help, and then we'll get them to the right person. Well, not everybody wanted to go through that path, but that's the path that we chose to make people go through. And it frustrated some customers. And the stories in the book, and it frustrated some customers, and customers got upset about it. And you have to think about what are the choices you make and what you should allow AI to do and not do. and how clear you should be with your customers about the path you're putting them through and making those choices, because it does impact trust, right? Are you being clear with your customers? Are you making that choice of what AI should do and shouldn't do? And so it's not that so much that AI was wrong, it's that were we clear on the impact of having AI in that step and making AI do that, the impact on the customer experience.
Indeed, your book called Amplified, Not Replaced or Automated. Why that word, and what is the difference between amplifying a human and replacing one?
Yeah, for me, the big difference is, as I talk about decision rights, I talk about amplifying a human. There are things that AI should do, and there are things that AI should just recommend. And I use a three-class model of decisions. I think about simple decisions like how you route a package, how you make a simple decision, should I accept the return or not? Where's my package? Those are simple, easy decisions. Those are facts, right? There's no opinion to be had. You can let AI make that kind of decision. Those kind of things, those are the kind of things that AI can do and AI can do well. Now let's take the next class of decision, I'll call it class two decision, where now a customer wants to make a return, but it's outside of the policy window, right? There's some judgment that needs to be applied. AI can't make that judgment call. AI can make a recommendation, but there should be a human in the loop for that. So those are things where class two decision, where AI can recommend, AI can go through all the steps, so it can take a lot of the work away. So you may need less people to do that. AI can recommend. And then there's the class three decisions where it may be regulatory, it may be, right, there may be something that someone's going to lose some money. You're making a really tough decision around their money, your financial situation. Maybe it's even tougher than that, where AI can inform, but you may have to explain to a regulator, why did you make this decision? You need a human in that loop. And so as you think about, like I said, my book is not written from a technical perspective. It's written from a leadership philosophy. It's a leadership framework of how you should think about this, right? Some jobs are going to get impacted. For me, not all the jobs are going to get impacted. And for me, it's how do you think about where AI should be, where AI shouldn't be, and how do you amplify people? And how do you think about where people should be helped with AI versus being replaced by AI? And how do you think about those decision rights?
Well said, Mr. Dan. And most leaders are asking, what can AI do? You're asking different question. What's the question leaders should be asking but are not?
I think for me, it's what should AI not do? It's a little bit of a difference. And for me, AI is very good at the analytical things. It's very good at those kind of things. It's not good at empathy. It's not good at judgment. It's not good at trust. Now, may AI get there someday? Possibly. Hard to say. It's moving fast. But those are the things that you shouldn't let it do. And so for me, it's more of a what should it not do? And those are the things you should never let. You should never give up. Those are human things that it's not ready for.
Indeed. And you focus on government and decision design, topics most leaders find boring until something blows up. How do you make this case that seeing boring work actually the difference between AI making you stronger or more fragile?
Yeah, it's boring until you wind up on the front page of the Wall Street Journal. And so, when you think about this, it's while these things are boring, AI
Yes.
takes those broken things and moves them to this at a speed that you never had before. And that's the challenge. And so what AI does, it finds all those broken little things in your processes and makes them happen really fast. And so there are things you have to think about. Who's in charge of those decisions? Who's going to be responsible when the things do go wrong? Because they will go wrong, and they'll go wrong
Yes,
pretty quickly.
certainly. And what does the fragile AI system look like versus a resilient one? Give me a real world signal that tells you this organization is about to break before the break actually happens.
Yeah, I think when you think about that, there's a couple things. One is there's a monitoring system in place that you can say, hey, I understand what's going on. You've got the tracking mechanisms in place to see that. The other thing you have is you've got people responsible for those decisions, and that's part of the key is having someone who a named person responsible, not a team, not a organization, but a named person responsible. If you have a named person responsible, you're going to have some resiliency because you've got someone watching it. Also, there's a part of the book what I call the red button. You've got people who have the ability to stop the machine, right? And if they stop the machine, they're not going to get in trouble for it. Right? Because that's the difference is if you've got people who on the front line, not just a manager, not just a supervisor, not just an executive, but people on the front line who can stop that machine and question a decision, that's where you start to build in that resiliency because you've got the ability to learn from that and understand that, okay, I have trust that if something starts to go wrong, we're going to catch it early.
Mr. Dan, as we said, you work inside a massive companies like Apple and eBay. What's a common mistake even sophisticated leaders make when they first try to assign accountability for AI-driven decisions?
I think the most common mistake that I've seen is not thinking about redoing the process first, laying AI on top of the existing process. The
Mm.
best thing you can do is understand what's really happening because as I talked about before, AI is just going to make the process go faster. And so if you don't think about what's the process, should I rethink this process before I automate it? That's one of the big mistakes that I've seen.
You say your book is not about whether to use AI. Why did you deliberately avoid the debate? And what do you say to leaders who are still stuck on should we or should we not?
Yeah, I don't think you can avoid AI. It's here. It's not going away. I think any business who avoids AI, they're not going to be able to compete in today's world. It's here. It's not going away. It's going to be part of every business. It's going to be part of every. It's going to be part of every job. Anyone who's not
Mhm.
using AI in any way, shape, or form, there's lots of good things about AI. I mean, I use it every day in all kinds of things. It's how you use it and where you use it. It's you need to understand it, right? I always talk about it. I use it as a thought partner, not a thought replacement. So it's about how you use it. But if a company is avoiding it, they're going to get left behind.
Certainly. Mr. Dan, will you be my guest on my other podcast, AI 101? And let's talk about AI itself. People, AI is everywhere, as Mr. Dan talking about. And whether you like it or not, well, it's just like internet, it will boom. When AI takes over more tasks, human judgment becomes more important, not less. What's judgment call you seen a junior employee make that no AI could have made?
Yeah, I think that's a really important point. I think it's as AI takes over more, those places where the judgment is becomes important. If you think about a let's use a customer service experience example. As you automate more, those places where those human moments are extremely important, and where that judgment is extremely important because they become fewer.
Mm, certainly. You led a large scale operations for 25 years. What's the decision discipline you learned at Intuit or Travelers that you now considered essential for any other team introducing AI?
Yeah, I think for me, the biggest thing about decision discipline is there are very few decisions that are final. As you learn more, be willing to revisit the decision.
So, Mr. Dan, let's talk about on trust customers and the experience gap. You say customers stop trusting the experience after AI replace people. What does that loss of trust actually feel like to a customer, and how you measure before your metrics show a problem?
Yeah, I think you have to really think about what are the metrics you're getting from your customers and how you asking the questions. It's important to make sure that whatever surveys you're doing of your customers, whatever questions you're asking of your customers, you use the right survey mechanisms and use the right questions. A couple of examples I use in the book around that is that just because customers are getting faster answers doesn't mean they're going to be happier. One of the examples I use in the book is on a returns process that customers automated or that a company automated. Customers were getting faster answers, but they lost trust because the system was just ignoring all the input. The customer didn't really want just a return. They wanted someone to listen to them about, I didn't want to just return this. I wanted my problem resolved. I didn't want the return. I just wanted this one piece fixed. I wanted the item I had. And by automating it, it's like, yeah, great. You got me my money back, but that's not really what I wanted. And so understanding that automating doesn't always get that trust, and so having the right survey mechanism, asking the right questions, and one of the keys for me, about that's why I call it a playbook. One of the key things for me in writing this book was, this book for me wasn't about, hey, let's figure out how Dan can go get a bunch of consulting gigs, a bunch of companies. This book is truly a playbook. There are diagnostic tools in there. There are guides for what questions you should ask. There's a 90-day right playbook of how you can go implement this at your company. You don't need to go talk to Dan about how to do this. And so in there are the questions you can go ask your customers to figure out, are you losing that trust? And so that is, for me, the key is, figure out is, as you deploy this, have you asked your customers the right questions to understand, have you kept that trust in there? Are they still trusting you as a company? Are they still as engaged with you as they were before you implement that AI?
Mr. Dan, your book is called Us Again Amplified. Without giving away everything, what is the one play from the playbook that leader could implement next Monday morning?
I think the key for me is if nothing else, it's the decision boundaries. Think about what AI should do and what AI shouldn't do.
Mm, certainly. So, what changed recently that made you say, now is the time to write a book? What was the specific moment or specific failure you witnessed?
Yeah, for me, is as I left the corporate world, and was able to have the time. A lot of it was having the time to write the book. It was, as I saw a lot of companies, and this is all over the headlines of a lot of companies just laying off tons of people. I felt it was not the right thing to do. I'll say, and I think a lot of companies are going to regret that they let all those people go. I think, like I said, people are going to lose their jobs, but I think there's a lot of opportunity for how do you scale that human potential. And I just wanted to get my thoughts out there of having done this and having deployed these kinds of systems, the right way to do it, from my perspective, and get people the handbook and leaders the handbook of how they could do that.
Well, Mr. Dan, you offer consulting through CX Amplify. What is the most common reason a company calls you? Are they calling before they break or after?
So, right now,
Hmm.
it's pretty much after. For me, I've had a few calls for after. I think as this book gets out there, I only launched it, less than a month ago, March 31st. I think, as this hopefully as this book gets out there, I'll get some of those before calls. Right
Mhm.
now, it's been more after.
Well, Mr. Dan, to wrap up our discussion for today, you work at both Silicon Valley and giants and more traditional companies like Travelers. How does the AI accountability conversation differ between a born digital company and traditional enterprise?
I think it has to do more with a digital company, especially, you take an Apple or an eBay. It's also more regulated versus non-regulated. The willingness to take risks, right? A company like an Apple or an eBay is more willing to take risks with an AI versus a traditional company like a Travelers is less willing to take risks.
Well done, Mr. Dan. And can you please invite our listeners to support your book, your business, or anything you want to promote on Book 101 Review?
Yeah, please visit my website, cxamplify.com. Please, if you buy the book and read it, please leave me a review on Amazon.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Dan Leiva, because if you support him, for sure, more and more amplified AI will rise. And I have one more question, Mr. Dan, before I will let you go. 5 years from now, we hope leaders have learned something from Amplified. What is the one lesson you most want to have stuck? The thing you're afraid most organizations will still be getting wrong.
The thing that I hope they took away was that they've implemented AI in a way that scaled their organization and didn't destroy the trust.
Indeed. So, Mr. Dan Leiva, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Monica people, see you soon.